Hi, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Morgan. Today we're going to be making a Starbucks copycat lemon loaf, but gluten-free, and some banana blondies that I was scrolling through Pinterest and I saw them and I was like, OMG, I need to try those. I have a banana cream cookie recipe that I absolutely love, and when I saw these blondies, I'm like, okay, I need to try those. So we're going to be making lemon loaf and blondies today. We are first going to put together our batter for the lemon loaf. And since it is gluten-free, there are some things that we're going to do to whip air into the batter because we're not going to have any gluten formation for our lemon loaf. So we need to incorporate lots of air into our batter. So I have 2 sticks of room temperature butter, and I'm going to whip this for probably 5 minutes to incorporate as much air as possible. That's what's going to give us our rise for our bread, is just incorporating lots of air. So I'm going to get my mixer turned on and prep the rest of my ingredients while this is going.
So a key factor in gluten-free baking, and even just normal baking in general, you want your cold ingredients to be up to room temperature. So the eggs, lemon juice, sour cream, and butter was all room temperature before I started. It's going to help incorporate evenly into the batter with them being room temperature instead of cold.
Our butter is all nice and fluffy. Now I'm going to add some sugar to it. I'm going to turn my mixer back on and then pour in 1.5 cups of sugar.
I am gradually adding in all of the sugar so it has enough time to whip into the butter, and it'll form a nice, smooth, fluffy mixture like this.
So our butter is nice and fluffy. Now I'm going to add in the rest of our wet ingredients. I'm going to add in a cup of sour cream. I did forget to mention, I am doubling this lemon loaf recipe, so I can have the one for now for my husband's birthday and then one for in the freezer. I doubled it the very first time I made it, and we ate one and then I froze the other one. Whenever I pulled the frozen one out of the freezer, I just let it thaw completely and it turned out just wonderfully. Sometimes I'm kind of hesitant to freeze gluten-free recipes just because I don't know if it'll turn out the same as if it were fresh. But this recipe turned out just fine, so I'm gonna do it again. Now 1/2 cup of avocado oil. Now I'm gonna add in 6 eggs.
Instead of avocado oil, you could always use any neutral flavored oil or even butter if you wanted to.
I'm going to scrape the sides of my bowl down because I have clumps of butter still stuck to the sides of my bowl. So I want to make sure that gets all incorporated. Next, I'm going to add in 2/3 cup of lemon juice.
And if you were using lemon zest, you would add it now as well.
Next, 7 teaspoons of lemon extract and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So I'm going to incorporate 3 cups of gluten-free all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. This is just the Great Value brand that I'm using. I would use Bob's Red Mill, but they didn't have it at the time, so I just picked up this because this was the next cheapest option.
I am slowly incorporating the flour, baking soda, baking powder, and salt, just so it doesn't poof out of the mixing bowl and create a cloud of flour. So I mixed until just combined, and I will fold in the rest of this flour that is on the sides.
2 9x5 loaf pans, and I'm going to coat my loaf pans with some avocado oil. Now I'm going to split the batter evenly between the 2 loaf pans. I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees. I'm going to set these aside for just the time being while we whip together our blondies, because the lemon loaves and the blondies will both bake at 350 degrees. So now I'm going to get 1/2 cup or 1 stick of butter melted, and I'm just going to melt it in the microwave. I have it up to room temperature, but we've got to melt some sugar into it, so it needs to be melted. We've got our butter all melted. Now I'm going to add 1 cup of packed brown sugar. The recipe calls for light brown sugar, but I didn't have enough, so I am using about 3/4 cup light brown sugar and 1/4 cup dark brown sugar. Next, I'm going to add 1 egg. Next is 1/2 cup of mashed bananas. And I just had these bananas frozen and microwaved them to thaw them, because anytime I buy a bunch of bananas, I just can't go through them before they start turning really brown and mushy. So when that happens, I just peel them and throw them in the freezer. I do break them in half, so then like for using them for recipes like this, it's easier to kind of portion out however many I need. Next, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. All right, in this bowl, I have all my dry ingredients. I have 1 cup of flour. I'm using just normal all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. All right, almost perfect timing. Our oven is all preheated. So I'm gonna just get this mixed together. We'll get it in our baking dish and then get everything in the oven. I'm going to grease my 8x8 baking dish with a little bit of avocado oil, but you can use whatever you want. You could use butter, you could use vegetable oil if that's what you like or have on hand. You could use Pam, whatever you want to use. My husband and I just try to stay away from vegetable oil, soybean oil, those types of oils, but if that's what you have on hand, that's what you should use. All right, now I'm going to get my blondie batter into my dish.
I was so excited for these to be like a banana blondie, but I should have read the title of the recipe before I ever got started. But it's a banana bread blondie. It still turns out really good though.
I'm gonna spread my batter all around. Try not to push it down too much. Just putting it in all the corners. Alrighty. So all of this is gonna go in the oven at 350 degrees. The blondies are going to take about 25 to 30 minutes. Our lemon loaves are going to take about 65. So let's get them in the oven.
I'm currently making my own powdered sugar because I was all out. And it's as simple as blending regular sugar until it's powder.
I have a saucepan on the stove heating up. I'm gonna add 1 stick of butter, or 1/2 cup. And I am just going to melt this butter down, and then we will add the rest of our ingredients. We are currently making like a brown butter frosting. And I'm doubling the recipe that was for the banana blondies. And I'm gonna use it for both the blondies and the lemon loaf. I just pulled the blondies out of the oven and I rearranged the lemon loaves so they are on the middle rack. Now I'm gonna add 1 cup of brown sugar. I'm gonna melt this all completely in the butter. I've got the brown sugar all added. Now I'm gonna add the 4 tablespoons of milk. About 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then I'm gonna let this come up to a boil, which we are basically already there. All right, we're up to a nice boil. I am going to cut the heat and let this cool for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then we will add the rest of our ingredients. To our caramel sauce, I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Get this stirred in. And 2 cups of powdered sugar. I normally don't keep powdered sugar on hand. That's why I just make it myself in the blender or spice grinder whenever I need it. Just because whenever I'm making some, it's not like I'm making a ton at a time. I just need a little bit for a recipe here or there. So I just tend to make it myself. The perks of baking is you get to lick the spoon. So this is delicious. So our blondies have almost cooled completely and I have the frosting all made up. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get the frosting on the blondies because I'm not afraid if it melts a little bit. We're just gonna eat it here at home. So it's all gonna taste the same. The one thing that's kind of throwing me for a loop though is the fact that this frosting and the blondies are basically the same color. In the picture, her blondies were like very light colored and like pale, which she used all light brown sugar, so that's probably why. And I used all dark brown sugar in the frosting, which I was supposed to use light brown sugar. And then I used light brown sugar and dark brown sugar in the blondies. So I'm sure that's why, but it's just kind of throwing me for a loop. I'm gonna start off with this much frosting and see if we'll need any more. If you can hear anything in the background, it's just my baby, he's playing. My husband's watching him right now. Now I'm gonna let this finish cooling completely and then we will dig into it. Our lemon loaf has about 30 more minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and knock out all of those dishes that I have piled up in my sink and we'll be back. So I had to throw aluminum foil over the top of the lemon loaves so they wouldn't get too dark before the inside was done. Now I'm pulling them out and I'm going to test them with a toothpick to make sure it comes out clean and that there's no more runny batter inside. And if you notice that my oven knob broke off, the little inside piece that helps it turn broke. So I had to order a part and that should be coming in soon. So I'll be able to get that fixed as soon as it comes in and my oven will be back to working. But a pliers works just the same right now. So now I'm just running my knife along the edge of the loaf pan and getting the loaves out and onto a cooling rack. All right, everything's out of the oven. Now let's go ahead and give it a taste test. I'm gonna start with the banana blondies first because that's what I'm most excited about. Oh, and the one thing with these blondies, I keep saying they're banana blondies, but it's like banana bread blondies because they're supposed to taste like banana bread. So I should have looked at that before I got so excited. They smell literally exactly like banana bread, so, which shouldn't be a surprise, but if if you like banana bread, these are for you. These taste literally exactly like banana bread. These are so good. This recipe is a winner, that's for sure. Now let's try the lemon loaf, which I've had it before, and it was really good. A really good gluten-free copycat, that's for sure. If I had the zest of a lemon, I would have added it in here, but I just only had lemon extract and lemon juice. So, still really good, just not as lemony as I hoped it would be. I am going to try a little bit of the brown butter frosting on it, because I asked my husband and he didn't want me to make like the special just buttercream normal frosting for it. So I'm just going to try a little bit of the brown butter frosting on it, because this frosting is absolute dynamite. It's so good. All right, thank you all so much for coming along with me as we made 2 delicious desserts. I highly recommend both of these, especially if you're gluten-free. This lemon loaf recipe is awesome. These banana bread blondies are absolutely delicious. Highly recommend them, as long as you like banana bread. I will link both of these delicious recipes down below in the description box if you'd like to try them. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And if you would like me to try any certain recipes, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.